Today we will talk about a very latent topic in our students, specifically related to online games. In this presentation, they will know in depth the impact it generates in the social and emotional development of an adolescent as well as in their environment. First, we will perform an exercise of going back to the past, to our adult childhood where the qualities of our games were quite basic, with cyclic solution problems and usually interacted with local people from the same neighborhood. Today, video games are very different, generating an immersive experience that points towards the creation of a digital identity. Teenagers have great weaknesses when it comes to interacting in a real, tangible world, however, they find a refuge in online games. In this slide, I expose the most important differentials that trigger a much more attractive proposal for our young people. Traditional board games have cyclical behavior, which predict in a simple way the end of the problem or the winner of the game. They possess no relationship to the creation of some parallel identity or the creation of a distinct lifestyle. The more modern games remained in a very primitive format, achieving little reach among their adherents. Online games, unlike traditional games, are presented in a global scenario, with new challenges in each game, creating a competitive atmosphere that can generate an identity of power and leadership in some occasions. Now we can know some trends that circulate globally within the online games. Each of the words you can see are used by their students. Their language has been adapting idioms even from other countries. They use common colloquial phrases in every aspect of the game. Along with the massification of the different platforms, a new element is added that plays a key role in the development of a new digital identity: their pseudonyms. Their way of speaking, their ability in the game makes them generate many followers worldwide, the famous influencers. People who viralize a lifestyle based on their experiences linked to a game, sharing information with their followers and, of course, guiding the teenager in the development of their new playful way. Each of the mentioned elements has an objective: to generate the massification of the game with elements that everyone can understand, accessing in an easy and fast way. Online games have a different strategy to build player loyalty. Here we mention some of them. The freemium concept aims to access all the features of the game without incurring any charge. The player will be able to know 100% all the features of the game and how it works in a collective environment. The skin gambling was created to enhance the player's identity, granting different aspects both in their clothing style, even in their gender. The acronym RPG stands for role-playing game, which means that the player gets a role within the game that must fulfill for the development of the game. Some of these roles can be police, thief, driver, to name a few. All this set of qualities are viralized through influencers. The great concern today is the explosive increase of some platforms, exposing even the personal life of players through external applications. The best-known case is the TikTok phenomenon, which, based on its challenges, achieves a very invasive viralization in the digital world. The followers of each of these applications know the risks of each challenge and try to generate sympathizers and be known among their peers as a famous and influential person. Here are some numbers that express this movement. Within the online games, there is a classification regulation, which allows grouping certain games that are oriented according to age. There are games that have offensive language that we do not want to teach young children, as well as games that show scenes with sexual content that our teenagers can experience in a game. As adults, we must know and inform ourselves of the classification that current games have and instruct the student in the implications that it can generate. Now I would like to discuss some important tips to generate a safe and controlled environment for the student. Our young people must be given the tools to cope in this digital world they experience today. As a first step, it is important that the young person knows that playing on the internet connection at home will be safer, since we will not be exposed to the entry of unknown people into the network. It is very important to emphasize that under no circumstances should you give out private information about your environment, whether it is where you live or with whom, what school you go to name a few. Passwords should be known by parents. They will watch over the security of your identity. Know the PEGI rating of each game in which the student participates. Within the learning process of a young person in the digital world, different signs that represent a dependence on an online platform will be triggered. When a teenager presents any of these symptoms, we are in the presence of a declared addiction. As the student develops in some online game, the growth in the hours of connection will begin exponentially. Withdrawal syndrome occurs when there are activities outside their routine, such as a birthday or an outing to eat, where the young person prefers to continue with the usual routine. He is immersed in this digital arena. On prolonged occasions, it causes a clear deterioration in their health, reflecting symptoms of poor appetite, prolonged fasting, even poor quality in their development of physical activities. All this set of elements brings as a consequence a considerable decrease in their academic performance. As parents, we have the mission to educate our children in the digital world, applying current knowledge regarding their identity. We must develop solid pillars that help them to face the risks that their environment presents today. I invite them to generate community experiences that allow them to interact in a tangible and high-impact environment. To provoke sport instances of healthy coexistence for the development of their social identity. Thank you very much for participating in this talk. My name is Jose Luis Castro, and in another opportunity we will continue learning about this fascinating digital world. See you next time.